This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, so all of you are comfortable, right, team? Okay, let's start. So, okay, yesterday we have seen, okay, so what is the software testing is about? Correct, right? So we have seen what is the software testing. So as I told you, you don't have to give a theoretical definition. You have to just explain what you understand. Correct? So in this case, the what is the software testing? Take a generic examples or generic way that we can explain it, right? So the what is the software? Software is nothing but it is an application. Maybe it is a web-based application, cloud-based, client server-based application, and very important is a mobile-based application thing. Correct. So we are using a Android mobile phone. We are using a WhatsApp and number of applications. So that also we can test it. Mobile testing. It is called as a mobile testing. Right. So the testing is nothing but verifying or checking. What we are going to check? We are going to verify that the particular thing or the requirement is getting matched with that application or not, right? So this is what the software testing, yesterday we did these things, right? Then um, about this assignment, hope that all of you have done the assignment that I have given to you. What is the the drawbacks or the benefits of SDLC model, or that is a waterfall model. Okay, if you have not done, please do it. Okay, this is for interview point of view. I'm giving you interview point of view, right, team? Okay, fine. So now, when we talk about the software testing team, so there are two. Basically, this is in the divided into two different parts, like manual testing and the automation testing. So manual testing is nothing but like the testing which is performed manually. It is called as a manual testing. Okay. And what is an automation testing? The testing which is performed, using an automation tool. So there are so many tools are available in the market. And it's a very, if you go into this, the depth, when you start with an automation testing, then you feel that, okay, this is very interesting kind of a thing, right, team? So the one of the top, the tool in the market is Selenium right now. Okay, and there are so many tools like Catalan Studio is there for the APM, for the mobile testing application. So many tools are available in the market, but out of which I'm going to show you the demonstration on the Selenium team. Okay, I can give you a one demo how exactly the automation testing is performed in the industry. Correct. Now, why software testing? We have seen the the scenario basically, or we can say that the story, and that's why the testing is required. Correct. So we have gone through the entire scenario yesterday, right, team? Correct. So that was the scenario, right? The credit card holder, Mr. X, then the credit card company, and then the software development company. So there is a fault of the software development company. So we have seen this scenario. Then after that, we started with the SDLC model. So what is SDLC? SDLC stands for, it is a software development lifecycle model, right? So there are different models are there, like waterfall model is there, right? Then the rapid application model is there. So many things. Then the agile methodology that we are going to see today. Then the V&V model is there, verification and validation model. So these are the models that we are going to see today. So yesterday we have seen that is a waterfall model, spiral model, code and fix model, and prototype model. Correct. So now there are 6 phases. One is a requirement, that is a user's requirement. That the user's requirement may be clear, may not be clear, and which is getting done by the business analyst, BA people. Now, once the requirement gets the gathered, then we have to perform some the analysis kind of a thing. Okay, we have to perform analysis. Analysis in terms of whatever the requirement we got it, we have to bifurcate it, we have to clear it out those requirement, that is called as an analysis. Correct. And then after that, we have to move to the next level that is called as a design phase. Design phase, it was a traditional approach team. If you talk about these 6 phases or the waterfall model or a linear sequential model, right? This approach was traditional approach team. Okay. We did so far actually. When we in the pass out in 2000 and we started working on the development companies with development companies as well as in the testing activities, So the developer supposed to perform the testing activity. There was not separate QA team. Getting my point? So the developers was the performing the testing activity. So it was a traditional approach. And if you check it out, so there is a requirement. Once the requirement gets done, then we need to perform the analysis part. Then we have to design the in the form or database design and everything, and then we start the coding activity. After coding is done, then we start the testing activity. This was the traditional approach. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, but nowadays it's not like that. Once the requirement is up, or once your requirement is getting in hand, then we have to start the testing activity itself. It's not like that the application should be get built and then only we are going to test the application. No, team. Understand? No. So we have to first, once you get the requirement, parallelly, parallelly, quickly, we have to start the testing activity. So it's not like that we have to wait till that the build gets, or that the developer has supposed to develop that the software or an application, then the testing activity starts. No, no, team. It's not like that. Once the requirement is in hand, then we have to start the testing activity parallel. So this is nowadays it's happening like this, right? Now you have to understand the terminologies, like what is mean by the enhancement. Enhancement in terms of what? Whatever the application is there, we are going to add or modify something into that module is called as an enhancement. Correct? And the change request is nothing but there is a there is a requirement called as a to the developer, and we have to change the requirement. No, I don't want I want to a 1.0, give it to the developer. So it's like that. The client may give the requirement. So frequently this this client gives the actually requirement. So this requirement may change frequently, and nowadays it's changing. A lot of changes are coming up, and it's very difficult the testers to test that application. This is a one more challenge, right? But it's very interesting, so no worries. Now we have seen that is a spiral model. Basically the spiral model is used for the important term, that is what the risk. Spiral model, which is used for the risk analysis. Remember, team. Okay, this is used for the analysis purpose. Now we have gone through the scenario or the story. We have a company and blah blah, so many things that we have yesterday seen, right? And it was a technology risk, right? So we were having Java expertise, and the BA person has got the project in the .NET. So that was the something was happened, and then suddenly that the company has stopped that project. So this is what yesterday we have seen. So in the spiral model, we have to perform for each and every in the model. We have to check whether the risk is associated with it. We have to find out the solution, and then we have to move to the next level. And this is what the spiral goes on and on till you are finalize the product. Okay, so this is about the spiral model thing. Now, what is a prototype? Understand the meaning of the prototype. Okay, team. Understand the meaning of the prototype. Prototype is nothing but the sample. Okay, so when you start any project, right, you have to show to the client, right? You have to show to the client. Say for example, I want to develop some website to the Mr. X, somebody, right? And I have to show that, okay sir, see, this is what I have done so far. Whether it is okay, yes, it is okay, you can just go ahead. So this is kind of a sample, right? So we have to show, and then we have to start the implementation. We have to show to the client, and then we have to start the activity. And this is what it is called as a prototype. Correct? Right? Generally we use, when we start our own or something, then we go ahead with the prototype model. So they will show that, okay sir, this is what we have done today, whether it is okay, so we can move to the next level. So this is generally it happens. Okay team, right? So these are the different models yesterday we have seen. Now today we are going to see that is called as an agile methodology. So today is day 2. Okay, I just give the day 2 and today's date is it's 21st, right, of May 2020, right? Okay, so day 2. Now we are going to understand what is agile methodology. Now understand the term of the agile team. Don't worry about it. Just see what is mean by agile. Correct. You have to see what is mean by the agile in the dictionary. So agile is nothing but it is a fast. Agile is nothing but it is a fast. So this is a methodology, right? Nowadays it's very important. And this agile topic team, I'm telling you, it's very vast. There are so many certifications are there in the agile. See, don't stuck with uh yes, can change rapidly. Perfectly right. Yes. Okay, we can change this, the agile, let's change, the rapidly basically. Changes are getting rapidly, frequently. We can say that that is a frequently term. Okay. So I'm talking about this, the certifications and all. So this agile certification, Scrum Master is there. So many things are there. And the company is looking for those who are already expertise or the certified with this agile. I'm telling you 101% you will get a job team. Okay. I'm telling you 101% if you go with this, the agile certifications and then, the domain expertise certification. So technically, I'm telling you, technically, they consider you as a 10 to 20% team. They don't consider like, okay, you should know about, you should be strong in the technical terms and all aspects. No team, no, it's not like that. If you do, if you are interested in a team, okay, how to get a job into the IT industry, just let me know offline. I will tell you, give the hints to you people that you should get it 101% job guarantee. 101%. Don't go with the .NET, don't go with the Android and all blah blah. So many people are going in that particular area. Don't go that way. Okay, you have to think about it, what you feel in the comfortable, what you like, and what you can able to do it. That particular field or the stream you have to select, and that is what I suggest. Okay, so we are talking about the agile methodology. Agile is a very vast topic team. It's not like that within a 10 minutes I'm going to explain everything and it's getting finished. No team, it's very vast. And we generally conduct a workshop for the agile and the scrum for the 2 to 3 days. That is a full-time workshop, 8 hours workshop. So it's like that. It's very vast and you should have some kind of an experience into the IT industry, then you can go ahead with the Agile, Scrum Master, the certifications. Okay, team. Right. So now the Agile is nothing but it is a fast. Now let's understand what exactly this Agile is about. Okay. Let's consider that there is some client, right? So there is a client, there is a developers, right? And I can say that developers are also there, right? Developers. Then I can say that the team members, then the team managers, everybody is there, right? See, now what we can call this is a, this is the client is getting involved, the developers are getting involved, the entire team is getting involved, right? The managers are getting involved. So these are the team players are there. So when we talk about the agile, right? When we talk about the agile, we can say that the agile project is nothing but what? That is, it is a made up of, the team. Okay, not by individual. I'm not saying that the, the Tushar has done, this project successfully. Congratulate to Tushar. No, Tushar's team has done, this project successfully. This is what we can say that in terms of the agile. Correct. So now it is a fast. So if you ask me about the traditional approach team, in 2000, 2005, we were doing like, okay, once the code gets done, or we can say that the application is ready, then we start performing, the once the application is ready, then we start the testing activity, right? Then we start the testing activity. Nowadays, it's not like that. Once the requirement is and then we start the testing activity, right? So this is what nowadays. Now, when we talk about this agile, there are some terminologies are there. There are some terms are there, like Scrum. Okay. Then what are the different players are there? There are different, say, we call this as a requirement, right? So we don't call this as a requirement in the agile terminology. So there are something, in short, I'm telling you what is agile is. Okay. In traditional approach, इसमें कैसे होता था कि ट्रेडिशनल अप्रोच में अपना जो प्रोजेक्ट था वो ईयर्स टू ईयर्स जाता था. से फॉर एग्जांपल 2 years to 3 years ये प्रोजेक्ट था. Okay, we were supposed to complete this project within a 2 to 3 years. So it was a in the long period or the long time project. Correct team? Understood? So this traditional approach कैसे था कि पहले 2-3 साल प्रोजेक्ट्स को लगते थे एक प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट करने के लिए, right? Now, in this, the agile methodology, we have to suppose to deliver the session, or deliver this project. I can say that they deliver the project within 6 months. Okay, this is a minimum. I'm telling you, within 6 months, you have to complete this project. Anyhow, okay. So whether you are following the entire test life cycle or not, it doesn't matter. But you people have to complete this project within 6 months. I want this project within 6 months. Correct. So this is what the agile. It's fast within 6 months. Now there are some terms are there, right? What are the terms are there? So let me just open, the agile. I'm going to show you the agile model, agile methodology. Okay, you can search in the agile methodology, right? And go to this images. Correct. Anything you can take, right? So there is a the waterfall model versus agile model is there, right? Within 30 days, we can take anything. This is also the sprint. This is the cycle. Okay, agile methodology. Let's check it out. This cycle. CT. Now you can understand this. It's taking a little bit of time to launch its native slope. So that's the reason. Wait. So we will get it the okay. Okay, team. Now we have to understand the terms, right? There is something called as a sprint, sprint 2, right? And there is something called as a circle, or which is also called as a cycle. Okay. Say for example, this is a 6 months, the project, and I want to complete it within 6 months. There is something called as a sprint, sprint, sprint term. Okay. Sprint is nothing but what? There is something called as a cycles. Okay, there is some cycles are there. So we have to perform which cycles, what it contains basically in the cycle. So it contains, see, we have to plan it, we have to design it, correct? Then we have to build it, then we have to test it, we have to review it, we have to launch it, correct? This is a one cycle team, remember? And this one cycle may be of 1 week, correct? Within a 1 week, you have to complete this, the entire cycle. मतलब एक मॉडल आपको कंप्लीट करना है विद इन दिस द 1 week. 6 days का रहता है साइकिल, किसी किसी का 4 days का भी साइकिल रहता है. So within 4 days, so that is called as a sprint 1, sprint 2, so there are so many things are there, right? sprint 1, sprint 2 वगैरह ये सारी चीजें हमें करनी पड़ती है. तो जैसे कि ये सी कंटेक्चुअली एंगेजमेंट है क्लाइंट डेवलपर्स यूजर, very important. And the difference between your agile and then the scrum is agile and the SDLC, that is a waterfall model, is the client is involved into this agile methodology team. Client is involved. Okay, so the cycles, we can say that 1 week cycle, correct? We can say that 1 week cycle, you have to follow the entire cycle. We have to plan it, we have to develop it, we have to test it, and we have to release it. Now let me give you a simple example to understand the agile methodology, right? So say for example, there is a Mr. X is there and he has a shop. Say consider which type of the shop. Say for example, we can consider it a toy shop. Okay, he has a toy shop which is physically exists, right? And now he is looking for he has a limited area to sell his the product or that the toys. Now he wants to get into the all the we can say that okay, it's located in the Rajarampuri. Now I want to get it over all over the Kolhapur, say for example, or all over the Maharashtra. I want to sell my toys all over the Maharashtra now. Correct. So is it possible to, I can open my shops each and every in the state or each and every in the city. It's a little bit difficult and to open these shops. So instead of this, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to develop e-commerce website. All of you are getting my point. Correct. See, consider this, the very simple example that the Mr. X has thought that okay, I want to, the open my shops, but that is not physically, that should be a virtual. That is a e-commerce website. Now he is not Mr. X is not so technical person. Correct. He don't know what or which language he has to use and he has to develop this software or that particular application, e-commerce website. Now he called to Mr. Y. Mr. Y, can you just help me out to get this, the things done? Okay, I want this website online. Can you please help me out? Yes. Mr. Y said, yes, will, definitely help you out this, then understand team. Now, if you give that the Mr. Y gives, suppose to Mr. X, okay, your website will be getting done within 2 to 3 months. Okay, say that the Mr. Y give the estimation time, okay, that particular website will get it done within say 1 month or 2 months. Now tell me team whether that the Mr. X has supposed to wait till 2 months. मतलब उसको बिजनेस ही नहीं करना है 2 महीने का में. करेक्ट, गेटिंग माय पॉइंट. वो आइडियली बैठा रहेगा कि नहीं नहीं मेरी वेबसाइट हो जाने दो, अप हो जाने दो, फिर मैं सेल करूंगा. करेक्ट. तो इट शुड नॉट बी लाइक दिस. देन व्हाट? तो मिस्टर वाई मिस्टर एक्स को सजेस्ट करता है कि आप अपना बिजनेस कंटिन्यू करो. ठीक है. जो ज्यादा टॉयज जाते हैं या सेल आउट हो रहे हैं, यू हैव टू कंसिडर दोज फर्स्ट. Give the priority to them. Now understand the term that is called as a priority. Okay, priorities. Now you have to get the requirement, है ना? Requirements आते हैं आपको, तो इसमें requirements में भी आपको priority set करनी पड़ती है. You have to set the priorities, whether the requirement A is first or requirement B is second and so on. So you have to set the priorities. Correct. So this is a very important. So you have to set the priorities. तो ये मिस्टर वाई सजेस्ट करता है मिस्टर एक्स को कि नहीं आप क्या करो कि आपका जो सेल ज्यादा हो रहा है ना, so you have to just consider those the particular items or the toys first. We'll get this the particular things up first. मतलब एक मॉड्यूल को पहले उसको अप करना है. ओके, पहले टॉयज को अप करना है. अप इन द सेंस ऑफ दैट शुड बी अ लाइव, एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड एज अ साइकिल 1. सो विद इन अ वीक ये क्या करेंगे कि जो ज्यादा टॉयज बिक रहे हैं उसी को लाइव करके छोड़ देंगे इन द वेबसाइट पे. तो इट वोंट गेट अफेक्टेड टू द अदर्स मॉड्यूल एज वेल. करेक्ट, अंडरस्टूड, राइट. सो दिस इन द फर्स्ट वीक में क्या होगा, जो उसको टॉयज इंपॉर्टेंट थी जो ज्यादा बिकती है उसी वेबसाइट को उन्होंने लॉन्च कर दिया पहले, राइट. एंड देन आफ्टर दैट जैसे ही उनका हो गया, एक साइकिल कंप्लीट हो गया टीम, राइट. नाउ दिस टीम दैट द मिस्टर वाइज टीम will get the feedback from the customers. ये टीम क्या करती है, फीडबैक लेती है कस्टमर्स से कि आपको ये साइट कैसी लगी, या आपको ये पर्टिकुलर मॉड्यूल जो था ये कैसे लगा, एंड दे टेक अ फीडबैक, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दिस सजेशंस or the feedback, they redevelop it, or they get some enhancement into that particular module. And this is what the agile is about. Correct? तो ये एक साइकिल हो गया, देन सेकेंड मॉड्यूल चालू करना था, तो ये साइकिल 1 कंप्लीट होने के बाद देन दे स्टार्ट विद द cycle 2 and so. Okay, so this is what it's about the agile team. Understood? Agile is a fast, right? There is a something called as a sprint. Sprint is nothing but it is a cycles, right? One cycle is called as a one sprint. So this cycle may be of a 1 week. Within a 1 week you have to complete the entire the model. So they give the task, right? Okay, you have to perform this within a week. It's like that. So they will perform within a week. And very important, the client is getting involved into this agile methodology. Okay, so we have to take our daily meetings, daily stand-up meetings. Okay, daily stand-up meetings, 10 minutes meeting रहता है. अभी इसमें क्या होता है डेली स्टैंड अप मीटिंग में, जैसे ही आप कंपनी में जाओगे, then you have to explain your team lead will arrange a meeting. This is a 10 minutes meeting, stand up meeting रहता है. Okay, और उसमें हमें बताना पड़ता है, we have to tell okay what you did, correct, आपने क्या किया है, आपका टास्क कहाँ तक आया है, you have to give the information about it. और आपको कुछ obstacles, and if you are facing any kind of a problem, you have to discuss with your team members. वहां पे टीम रहता है, पूरा कंप्लीट टीम रहता है. तो उस टीम के साथ आपको क्या करना है, you have to communicate with them. You have to tell what you did, what you are going to do, right? And how much time it will take to complete this, the entire model. यानी कि ये टास्क दे दिया है आपको, ए टास्क दे दिया, आपने ए टास्क कंप्लीट किया, नहीं किया है तो क्यों नहीं किया है, उसका रीजन चाहिए उनको. ठीक है, आपको कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं तो आपके टीम मेंबर्स आपको हेल्प करेंगे कि वो प्रॉब्लम आपको सॉल्व करें. ओके, so this is how exactly it works. So this is a daily stand up meeting. ये 10 मिनट्स का मीटिंग रहता है, क्लाइंट के साथ होता है, कभी कभी क्लाइंट भी इन्वॉल्व होता है कि उनको अंडरस्टैंडिंग करने के लिए कि अपना प्रोजेक्ट कहाँ तक आया है वगैरह, ये सारी चीजें ये अजाइल मेथोडोलॉजी में होती है. और इसमें चेंज रिक्वेस्ट, यानी कि फ्रिक्वेंटली जो चेंजेस है रिक्वायरमेंट में वो आते रहते हैं, चेंजेस, चेंज रिक्वेस्ट. Okay, frequently, so it will get it, like say for example आज client ने X application करने के लिए कहा आपको, या X requirement दे दिया, so कल client बोलेगा कि नहीं, I don't want this X, I want Y. So it's like that thing. Okay, so might be you are getting frequently changes over there. Understand this, and this is called as a agile methodology. Correct, this is called as a agile methodology. So hope that everybody is clear. Anybody have any doubts or any question, please, you have to just send me a text message or something like that into the chat box. Correct? If you are getting any problem, can different team work on different modules of the project, same project? Yes, obviously. So it depends upon your the responsibilities or your role. Okay, Sachidanand. So it depends on, say for example, you are a test lead or a team lead. Now you might be getting in the multiple projects. So in the same projects is okay, definitely. So say for example, there are 10 modules are there and I have 5 team members. So obviously there's one, the team member is supposed to do the 2 modules, right? So different modules, they can work. Okay, right. Very good. Perfectly right. So hope that everybody has cleared this, the agile methodology, and it's very interesting. Okay, and nowadays it is a little bit difficult. There is something, the has coming up. New things are coming up in this model team. Okay, it's not similar to like a spiral model. Spiral model, we have to follow entire steps. correct? But here we don't follow any steps, right? So there is a, we have to plan it, test it, and then execute it and release it. But in the spiral model, we have to check it out whether this particular module is getting work or not, whether we have any risk associated with that particular module or not. We have to check everything, and then only we have to move to the next step or the next level. But here it's not like that. We have to take one module, start working on it. We have not find out any kind of an errors or any kind of a risk which is associated with the module. We simply just the start it because we have a less time. So understanding, it's very fast. This methodology is very fast. The client demand is, it's getting more, you have to complete within a fast, right? It's like this. Okay. So this is a difference, right? The spiral model, which is associated with the risk analysis, and we have to follow the entire cycles, the step by step. But in agile methodology, and the client is not involved in this spiral model. But here it's the agile methodology, its client is getting involved in, right? About the requirement term, right? So we can call this as a requirement. There is something called as a stories. There is something called as in stories. Okay, we have to see basically the agile, it's very fast. Within a short period of time we have to finish the project. That is what it means, right? And about this spiral, we have to check each and every module. Okay, is there risk is associated? Yes. Then we have to find out the solution for this risk, and then only we have to move to the next level thing. Clear, right? Okay, now Abhishek has a question, right? What is agile and the time boxing model? Correct. See, now agile is a methodology. I am telling you thing. See, understand what is this? Agile is a methodology. It's not a model. It is a methodology. And when we talk about the models, which may be something, it is a subset of the agile methodology. Understood, Abhishek? It's little bit like it is a subset of that agile methodology. Might be getting rapid development model. आपको पता होगा, right? तो ये भी इस तरह का ही कुछ हो जाता है. बट यहाँ पे अजाइल में अभी जो ऐड किया है, यहाँ पे कुछ टर्म्स यूज किए, जैसे मैंने किया कि स्प्रिंट, ये नया टर्म यूज किया था दिया. देन मैंने रिक्वायरमेंट को स्टोरीज कहा. देन प्रोडक्ट कैटलॉग कहा. प्रोडक्ट कैटलॉग में क्या होता है कि आपकी जो भी रिक्वायरमेंट्स है, उसको रिक्वायरमेंट्स को आपको पहले प्रायोरिटीज देना पड़ता है. करेक्ट, यू हैव टू गिव द प्रायोरिटीज, यू हैव टू सेट द प्रायोरिटीज. तो वो सारी चीजें उस अजाइल में आ जाती है. तो इन शॉर्ट क्या होता है, इट हेल्प्स टू गेट थिंग्स डन क्विकली. और आपको स्टेटस भी अच्छी तरह से मिलता है, प्रोजेक्ट स्टेटस, कि आपका प्रोजेक्ट कहाँ पे आ रहा है. ओके, यहाँ पे अलग अलग ग्राफ्स आपको मिलते हैं. तो ये ग्राफ से आपको स्टेटस पता चलता है कि वेदर यू आर ऑन द राइट ट्रैक और नॉट, एंड वी कैन टेक अ डिसीजन बेस्ड ऑन दैट. ओके टीम, राइट? Yes, very good thing. Now, so understand, agile is a methodology, it's not a model. Remember, दिमाग में बिठा दो, ये एक methodology है. Okay, right? तो उसमें अलग अलग approaches है, ये मैं कहूँगा. Okay, there are different approaches. हर एक कंपनी अपनी तरह से जाती है. So Accenture has its own process. जो टेस्टिंग अप्रोचेस है, अभी आप देखोगे कि मैं टेस्टिंग लाइफ साइकिल आपको पढ़ाऊंगा या आपको टेस्ट केसेस लिखने के लिए बोलूंगा. सो दिस टेस्ट केसेस माइट बी गेट डिफर इन द एक्चुअल एनवायरनमेंट आल्सो. जब आप किसी कंपनी में जाओगे, राइट, इफ यू गो विद द माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, इफ यू गो विद द गूगल, तो गूगल हैज इट्स ओन अप्रोच कि उनका टेस्टिंग करने का तरीका या टेस्ट केसेस लिखने का तरीका या अप्रोच माइट बी डिफरेंट. ओके, so don't worry, but understand the concept. कंसेप्ट आपको दिमाग में बैठ गया ना, तो बस बाकी आप कैसे भी कहाँ पे भी कुछ भी कर सकते हो, इट्स वेरी सिंपल थिंग. So this is about the agile methodology. It's very important. Now let's move to the next level. That is about the quality thing, right? So we have to understand about the quality. Again, I'm telling you, कि don't go with the theoretical concepts. Theoretically मत जाओ. Okay? क्वालिटी, जैसे कि अभी मैं क्वालिटी का डेफिनेशन पूछूंगा तो कोई कहेगा कि जैसे कि सपोज मान लो आप मोबाइल फोन ले रहे हो, करेक्ट? तो आप बोलते हो कि नहीं, सैमसंग का क्वालिटी वाला प्रोडक्ट है, सैमसंग हाथ में दिखा दिया तो बोलेगा कि यार क्या बढ़िया सैमसंग का मोबाइल फोन लिया. और कोई सपोज मान लो कि दूसरा ओप्पो का किसी के हाथ में है, तो यार क्या ओप्पो का उसके पास है, राइट? मतलब ये देखो ये इम्पैक्ट कैसे हो रहा है. यू पीपल ऑल्सो फील दैट इन द रियल टाइम सिनेरियोज ऑल्सो, यू नो कि ओ नो इट्स नॉट अ गुड क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट. जैसे कि मानो से फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी जब मैं बम्बई आता हूँ ना, सो डेफिनेटली आई गो टू दिस द राजा राम कॉलेज वड़ा पाव, है ना, शाम का वड़ा पाव, वहां मैं तो जाता ही हूँ, है ना, करेक्ट? तो दिस इज व्हाट इट इज, अ क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट. उसका पता है कहाँ से भी लोग वहां तक आएंगे ही आएंगे. एम आई राइट? आपली मिसळ, कोल्हापुरी मिसळ, दिस इज ऑल्सो एव्हरीबडी नोज दॅट की मिसळ म्हटलं की लगेच कुठे चला, राईट? So this is what it's a quality product. Quality product. Why we call this as a quality product? Can we define it in terms of generic way? Correct. Instead of going with the theoretical concept, right? So I can give you a simple example to understand what is mean by the quality. जैसे मैंने वड़ा पाव ले लिया, correct, right? So when we talk about this vada pav, okay, okay, its voice is not clear. Am I audible now? Just check it out. Yes, team. Am I audible now? It's clear. Voice is clear. Okay. Yes, yes, absolutely. Perfectly right. Perfectly right. Thank you. Thank you. Great, 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 great. Okay, okay. So now, when we talk about the quality, let's consider this, the शाम का वड़ा ही ले लेते हैं एक एग्जांपल. बहुत बढ़िया है एक्चुअली. उसने क्वालिटी मेंटेन किया हुआ है. उसके जैसा वो वड़ा कोई बनाता ही नहीं है अभी तक, और मैंने मुंबई का वड़ा पाव खाया. आपको पता नहीं होगा कि मैंने मुंबई का वड़ा पाव खाना मतलब एक बार खाया और कभी नहीं खाया जिंदगी में, है ना? क्योंकि उसका जो कोटिंग है ना, ऊपर का कोटिंग जो अपना क्रिस्पी रहता है, वो है ही नहीं वहां पे. जब वो ठंडा हो जाता है ना, इतना सा पतला सा वो वड़ा पाव होता है और कहते हैं कि मुंबई का वड़ा पाव. सो आई डोंट लाइक इट, करेक्ट? लेकिन यहाँ पे देखो, ये ठंडा भी हो जाए तो उसका वो ऊपर का कोटिंग क्रिस्पी रहता है. दैट इज द मैजिक, करेक्ट? सो वी कैन कॉल दिस एज अ क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट. क्वालिटी. अभी सपोज ये मान लो कि ये शाम का वड़ा पाव, शाम ने ये जो वड़ा पाव अभी 20-25 रुपीज में बेच रहा है, उसने उसको कर दिया 50 रुपीज में. करेक्टिंग, कंसिडर दिस थिंग. चलो देखो आप कि ये जो वड़ा पाव है, शाम ने वो वड़ा पाव सपोज 50 रुपीज में कर दिया, तो आप जाओगे क्या वहां पे? जरा कमेंट में डाल दो. आप जाओगे 50 रुपीज में वड़ा पाव खाने के लिए? बताओ मुझे. कैन यू जस्ट टेल मी अबाउट दिस? नो अभिषेक, करेक्ट. नो नो, एग्जैक्टली एग्जैक्टली, नेवर. परफेक्टली राइट. सी, यस, आप ही ने आंसर दे दिया है, ये क्वालिटी का. ठीक है, मतलब आपको पता है. कोई कोई कह रहा है कि ये समटाइम्स ओके, राइट, बट इफ यू टॉक अबाउट आपको वड़ा पाव, ठीक है, मैक्सिमम यार 30 रुपीज ले लो यार, उसमें क्या है? आपका क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट है, मान लेते हैं, अच्छा है, ठीक है, तो मैक्सिमम आई कैन बेयर द 30 रुपीज फॉर दिस वड़ा. मुझे पूछोगे कि सर आप जाओगे क्या, तो मैं नहीं जाऊंगा बाबा. 50 रुपीज में थोड़ी जाऊंगा उधर वड़ा पाव खाने के लिए. मुझे पता है कि वो मैक्सिमम 30 रुपीज में हो सकता है, तो उसको वो 20 रुपए एक्स्ट्रा देने के लिए क्यों जाना है? करेक्ट, है ना? इसका मतलब क्या है? देखो, हाँ, आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग यू अबाउट द क्वालिटी टीम. ओके, राइट. So when we talk about the quality, we have to consider 2 points of view. दो तरह से देखना पड़ता है। एक है कस्टमर पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू। ओके, कस्टमर पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू। अभी कस्टमर पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू क्या रहेगा? जैसे अभी मैंने कहा कि वड़ा पाव का प्राइस बढ़ गया 30 का, उसने कर दिया सपोज 50 रुपीज, तो आप जाओगे। समटाइम्स हम जाएंगे नहीं जाएंगे, मतलब इन शॉर्ट नो इज द करेक्ट आंसर, राइट? तो अभी इसमें कैसे कर सकते हैं कि मतलब ये कस्टमर, हम कस्टमर हुए ना, तो उसने हमारा कौन सा व्यू नहीं देखा? कस्टमर पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू, राइट? दैट द प्रोडक्ट शुड मीट्स इट्स प्रोडक्ट should meets users requirement. 1 minute. It should meets it. There are 2 points of view. One is a customer points of view and producer points of view. Producers points of view. There are 2 points of view. One is called as a customer points of view and producer points of view. So when we talk about the producer points of view, मतलब शाम के व्यू से हम देखेंगे तो उसे क्या करना चाहिए? प्रोडक्ट तो अच्छा होना चाहिए, दैट इज फाइन, करेक्ट, लेकिन ये जो प्राइस है वो एक लिमिट तक रहनी चाहिए और कॉमन पीपल उसके वहां पे आना चाहिए, क्राउड। इट शुड नॉट बी अ वेरी हाई लेवल क्राउड शुड बी, राइट? तो ही शुड कंसीडर दैट व्यू ऑल्सो। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि सिर्फ खाली प्रोडक्ट मेरा अच्छा है, अभी 50-100 रुपया कर दिया तो भी आएंगे, नहीं आएंगे ना। जो स्मॉल है या जो मीडियम लेवल के है या जो अपने वाले सोचते हैं, तो वो नहीं जाएंगे वहां पे। क्यों जाएंगे? अरे 100 रुपए का भी है, बड़ा वो अच्छा रहेगा भी, चलो। हाँ, तेल में ही डालेगा ना वो, और किसी और में तो नहीं डालेगा, करेक्ट, राइट? सो यस, सो दैट इज द बजट शुड कंसीडर। सो व्हेन द प्रोड्यूसर जब देख रहा है तो ये प्रोडक्ट को क्या कंसीडर करना चाहिए, है ना? सो when we talk about the customer points of view, मतलब आपको क्या होना चाहिए? जैसे ही वड़ा पाव खाते हो तो वो क्रिस्पी लगना चाहिए, टेस्टी लगना चाहिए, राइट? देन द डिलीशियस, ऐसा एकदम, मतलब वो शाम का वड़ा जैसे लगना चाहिए, फटाक से खाते ही, हाँ, ओ वाओ, वेरी नाइस, करेक्ट, ये शब्द आने चाहिए, वाओ, राइट? सो दिस इज व्हाट द प्रोडक्ट शुड मीट्स इट्स, द customer points of view. Product should meet satisfaction. ठीक है, satisfaction होना चाहिए कस्टमर का, right? Customer should get satisfied. Then when we consider about the producer points of view, product should meets its users requirement, meets its users requirement, correct? यानी कि वो यूजर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू उसको सोचना चाहिए। दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, है ना? करेक्ट। तो देखो, क्वालिटी का डेफिनेशन बन गया टीम। सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द क्वालिटी, राइट, वी हैव टू कंसीडर 2 पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू। वन इज द कस्टमर पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू एंड द अनदर वन इज द प्रोड्यूसर पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू। सो कस्टमर पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू क्या होना चाहिए? सेटिस्फैक्शन होना चाहिए, है ना? दिल में सुकून मिलना चाहिए। जैसे ही आप मुंह में वो वड़ा डालोगे तो दिल में क्या होना चाहिए? वाओ, ऐसा ऐसा शब्द आना चाहिए, करेक्ट, यस। और प्रोड्यूसर पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू, इट शुड मीट्स द यूजर्स रिक्वायरमेंट। यूजर का रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है? ठीक है, एक तो टेस्टी होना चाहिए, करेक्ट, और दूसरा था कि वो बजट में होना चाहिए, यस और नो, करेक्ट, बजट में आना चाहिए वो। तो ये सारी चीजें वो कंसिडर करेगा तो डेफिनेटली उसका सेल ज्यादा होगा। and this is we talk about the quality. So understood team? Yes, right? So ये देखो, ये अभी क्वालिटी का डेफिनेशन मैंने कहीं बुकिश नॉलेज से नहीं लिया, ये मैंने जेनेरिक टर्म में आपको बता दिया कि व्हाट इज मीन बाय द करेक्ट, राइट? Now the next is when we talk about this quality is divided into the QA and QCT. Okay, so what is QA? QA stands for quality assurance. quality assurance, okay, and quality control. Quality control. Control. Yes, see. Okay, so we are talking about the quality assurance and the quality control. Right. Now, my question is testing is performed in, whether it is performed in QA activity or in QC activity. This is my question. You can just drop me your answers into this in the chat box. Yes, team. So this testing activity that comes under a QA or QC. You don't know about the QA and QC little bit, but just tell me, no worries. Okay. Okay, so most of the people are saying it is a QA, right? Fine, team. So if you are saying QA, now understand both. Okay, fine. Let's see. Let's understand. The what is QA and what is QC. करेक्ट, वो पहले अंडरस्टैंड कर लेते हैं, फिर हम देखते हैं कि टेस्टिंग एक्टिविटी कहाँ पे आता है. बोथ के कोई कह रहा है कि बोथ. करेक्ट, ठीक है, नो वरीज. Let's check it out and understand what is this QA activity. Okay, see, this says that it comes under a QC. Okay, fine. ठीक है, let's check it out. Understand this QA activity and QC activity. Right. So now what is QA? QA is nothing but it is a quality assurance team, right? So let me just go through the sites. Okay, अपना एक sites पे जरा go through कर लेते हैं, and then we can talk about this QA and QC activity, right? See, so these are the quality definitions which is defined by each and every author has his own definition. Correct. एडवर्ड ने कुछ और कहा है, जोसेफ जूरिन ने कुछ कहा है, फिलिप ने कुछ कहा है. So there are so many authors are there and they have their own, the thoughts. So that's why they define the quality is about. Okay. So this is about the quality. That is the customer's points of view and producer points of view. Okay. Right. So we are talking about this, the quality assurance and the quality control. Correct. Now see, understand what is this quality assurance. Correct, team? Quality assurance. So this is quality assurance is about a work process, right? Work process. And what is a quality? It is a work product. Two terms. One is called as a work process and the another one is called as a work product. Now understand the meaning of the work process and work product. Correct? आपको ये समझना चाहिए कि ये वर्क प्रोसेस होता क्या है और प्रोडक्ट क्या होता है. Correct. Let's check it out. Okay. Right. So quality assurance. It is a work process. It is a work process oriented. And QC, it is a work product oriented. Understood? Correct. Now understand the meaning of the work process and work product. Now what is a work process? Work process. Process तो आपको सबको पता है, right? है ना? What does it mean by the process? Process is nothing but the steps. Yes or no? Correct? है ना? यानी कि आपको वो प्रोडक्ट बनाने के लिए, है ना, फाइनल प्रोडक्ट आने के लिए आपको कुछ स्टेप्स फॉलो करने पड़ेंगे, तभी वो क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट आएगा. Done? Understood? Getting this point? See what I'm telling you, कि आपको एक प्रोडक्ट बनाना है ना, तो वो प्रोडक्ट बनाने के लिए आपको कुछ स्टेप्स को फॉलो करना पड़ेगा. करेक्ट. सो वी हैव टू फॉलो दिस स्टेप्स। ठीक, तो अभी ये स्टेप्स को फॉलो करना है या जो करना है वो अभी कैसे कर सकते हैं? लेट्स टेक ए सिंपल एग्जांपल ऑफ प्रिपरेशन ऑफ a cup of tea. Correct? What we want to prepare? We want to prepare a cup of tea. So what is the procedure or what are the ingredients which is required to prepare a cup of tea? Correct? देखिए, very simple example है, QA and QC दिमाग में बैठ जाएगा 101%, आपके दिमाग में बैठ जाएगा ये एग्जाम्पल। देखिए, अभी हमें क्या करना है? We have to prepare a cup of tea. What are the ingredients which is required for a cup of tea? Underline the word that is a cup of tea. हाँ, टी, राइट? तो अभी क्या करना पड़ेगा हमें? हमें मिल्क चाहिए। प्रोपोर्शन क्या रहेगा मिल्क का? हाफ कप ऑफ मिल्क, हाफ कप ऑफ वाटर, देन 2 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of tea powder, then the boiling, right, for a certain period. So this is what we can call this as a process stream. Correct? इसे कहते हैं प्रोसेस, राइट? अभी इसी प्रोसेस में मैंने कुछ गड़बड़ी कर दी। मानो कि वहां पे 2 tablespoon ऑफ शुगर चाहिए था और वहीं पे मैंने 3 और 4 स्पून ऑफ मैंने शुगर डाल दिया, तो क्या होगा वो? तो वेरी द स्वीट ही हो जाएगा वो, राइट? तो दिस इज व्हाट इट इज कॉल्ड एज अ प्रोसेस। ये हो गया आपका प्रोसेस। So this activity, it's a preparation of cup of tea. Whatever the steps is involved, that comes under a QA activity. The steps which is involved, or the steps performed to prepare a cup of tea. To prepare a cup of tea. Correct. This is what it is called as in the steps which is performed to prepare a cup of tea is called as a QA. Then what is a QC team? Finally, we'll get a cup of tea in your hand, a cup of tea, and which is called as a product. Yes or no? Understood team? Right? तो अभी आप मुझे बताओ कि टेस्टिंग कहाँ पे करते हो? प्रोसेस में करते हो या मतलब एक स्टैंडर्ड है, राइट? प्रोसेस का मतलब है स्टैंडर्ड। देखा, सबका चेंज हो गया कि टेस्टिंग एक्टिविटी कम्स अंडर अ क्यूसी। मैंने सिंपल एग्जांपल दे दिया, मैंने कुछ बोला भी नहीं है आपको कि दैट द टेस्टिंग अंडर कम्स अंडर द एक्टिविटी। आपको पता है अभी टी आ गया हाथ में, तो टी टेस्ट करोगे तो दैट इज व्हाट इट इज कॉल्ड एज अ टेस्टिंग। मैंने कहा कि दैट अ कप ऑफ टी इज कम्स अंडर अ क्यूसी। So yes team, that the testing activity comes under the QC. Correct? So this is what the QA and QC. और क्या differences है इसमें? Okay, we have to understand what are the differences are there in the QA activity and the QC activity. It is a work process oriented and it is a work product oriented. So can we take some examples of the QA activity? Yes, process को आपको काबू में रखना है ना? जैसे कि अभी कैडबरी चॉकलेट बनाते हैं, आपने देखा होगा। चलो कैडबरी चॉकलेट नहीं, मैं एक एग्जांपल लेता हूँ, वो पार्ले जी का। पार्ले जी सभी ने खाया होगा, है ना? बहुत पुराना प्रोडक्ट है पार्ले जी, अभी भी 5 रुपए में मिलता है, लेकिन किसी बिस्किट का अभी तक 5 रुपए में कोई नहीं है। तो ये 5 रुपए में अपना पहले से ही था, पहले से अभी भी वैसे ही मिलता है, सिर्फ खाली थोड़ा उधर उधर कम कर दिया साइज में, अदरवाइज नहीं। लेकिन आपने देखा होगा कि जब आप पार्ले जी खाते हो तो कभी कभी ऐसा भी लगा होगा कि बार बार खाए, कंटिन्यूअस खाए, जब तक ये खत्म नहीं होता है ना तब तक वो खाते जाए, ऐसा कभी कभी हुआ होगा आपको। करेक्ट? तो वो जो बैच था, आई एम कॉलिंग दिस एज अ बैच, हाँ, जो प्रोडक्ट बना था उसका बैच रहता है बेसिकली। तो वो बैच बहुत बढ़िया बना हुआ था, तो उसकी वजह से वो पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट जो था, यानी कि जो बिस्किट्स थे वो बहुत अच्छे बने हुए थे और उसकी वजह से वो हम बार बार खा रहे थे। एक एक मुंह में डाल दिया ना, वी हैव टू द गेट इट थ्रू द एंटायर थिंग, कि ये फिनिश होने तक हमें खाना ही पड़ेगा। So it's like that. So you have to just eat it continuously like this. Correct है ना? तो ये हो गया QA, मतलब आपको ये बैचेस हो गए। अभी कभी कभी ऐसे भी लगा होगा आपको कि एक खाया यार उस तरह का नहीं था जो पहले हमने खाया था ना, वो पार्ले जी उस तरह का ये पार्ले जी नहीं है, यानी कि बैच चेंज हो गया, प्रोसेस में इधर उधर हो गया, यू नो। सो दैट्स व्हाई क्वालिटी में जरा सा अप एंड डाउन हो गया। सो दिस इज व्हाट है ना। तो ये जो होता है दिस इज कॉल्ड एज एन ऑडिट। एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट द ऑडिट, राइट? इंटरनल ऑडिट एंड एक्सटर्नल ऑडिट वेरीफाई करके आप जैसा कह रहे हो वैसा ही हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, इज कॉल्ड एज एन ऑडिट। Correct. So this audit comes under QA activity. So I can give this as an example. Very simple. Clear? And then QC, quality control. What is quality control? Example is testing activity. Correct. So this is about the QA and QC. So quick, fastly, we'll start with this. You know, the quality assurance, it is a work process oriented. Quality control, it is a work product oriented. Perfectly right. Understand this. Now, quality assurance activities are the work process oriented. Perfectly right. Okay. They measure the process, identify the deficiencies and suggest the improvement. कुछ उसमें problems है क्या, फिर उसमें improve करो. Correct. So this is what in the quality assurance. The direct result of these activities are changes to the process. Now, what it means? Say for example, if that is a cup of tea. We can take an example of this cup of tea, right? So instead of this 2 tablespoon of sugar, if I add, the salt, understanding, if I add 2 tablespoon of salt in the tea, है ना, making a tea, add cup of tea, तो क्या होगा वहां पे? चाय कौन सा होगा? Salty बन जाएगा. Correct. So these changes can be ranged from the better compliance with the process entirely new process. तो ये जो salty बना हुआ है तो आप उसको फेंक देते हो या उसमें शुगर ऐड करते जाते हो? टेल मी, है ना? आप शुगर ऐड करोगे? नहीं करोगे। तो क्या करोगे? उसको फेंक दोगे और नया चाय बनाओगे। And this is what these changes can be ranged from the better compliance in the result with the process of the entirely new processes. This is it means. Correct. The output of the quality control activities are often input of the quality assurance activity. Yes. सारी चीजें input पे ही depend है आपकी quality control. Right? Audit is an example of QA activity. Perfectly right done. Okay, team. So this is about the quality assurance activity. So the end result, मतलब finally ये QA क्यों करना है? QA activity क्यों करना है? क्योंकि improvement चाहिए, better result चाहिए, better compliance with the process चाहिए. So that's why we have to perform this audit. Okay, team. Fine. That's great. Now the next is called as what are the quality attributes are there? So what are the quality attributes when we talk about the quality? So there is something called as a IEEE standard. आपको सबको पता होगा IEEE standard is there and ISO standard is there. But if you check it out the sequences, right? तो यहाँ पे आप sequences check करो. Okay. So say for example now यहाँ पे देखो, यहाँ पे efficiency को priority first दिया है, then functionality को दिया है, फिर maintainability, portability, reliability and then usability. When we talk about the IEEE, correct? Right. But when we go with an ISO, वही सारे attributes है, quality attributes, लेकिन उसका जो sequence है यहाँ पे priority दिया है functionality को ISO. मतलब functionality is working properly, reliability, usability. We are going to see these are the terms in details. Okay. Then what is efficiency, maintainability and portability. So now if you check it out, everything, all the properties are there, but यहाँ पे ऊपर नीचे sequence हो गया है. When we talk about the IEEE, they give the preference to the efficiency. When we talk about the ISO, they give the preference to the functionality. Correct, team? Right? Okay. Now, let's move to the next. Okay, we have to talk about the quality control. Slide ऊपर नीचे, okay? So quality control activities, it is a work product oriented, everybody knows. They measure the product, perfectly right. Identify the deficiencies and suggest the improvement. Right. The direct result of these activities are changes to the product. Perfectly right. So instead of this sugar, if I add the salt, then it becomes a salty product हो जाएगा. Direct impact करेगा product पे. Correct. These changes can be ranged single line of code changes to the compliance complete the reworking a product from the design phase. जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये salty हो गया है तो आप उसको change करते नहीं बैठोगे. मतलब you are not going to add the sugar into this the salty tea. You are going to throw out that the salty tea and you start with the the new phase. यानी कि फिर से नया आप process को start कर दोगे. So this is what we have to rework a product from the design phase. Then they evaluate the product. They evaluate the product, identify the weaknesses and suggest the improvement. जैसे कि अभी सपोज आपने चाय पिया और आपको लगा कि शुगर कम है तो आप क्या करते हो उसमें शुगर जरा डालते हो. So this is what they evaluate the product, identify the deficiencies or the weaknesses and then suggest the improvements. Perfectly right. Testing and the reviews are the example of QC activities. Correct? Review. So we are going to discuss about the reviews as well. Okay, when we talk about the verification and the validation, so in that we are going to discuss in details about this in the reviews. So there are different types of the reviews are there. Okay, reviews is nothing but just go through karna. Okay, you have to just go through the slide, go through the book and something. So this is what it is, a review. So that reviews comes under a QC activity. So hope that everybody is understood about this QA and QC. So this is a summary. QA is a assurance, QC is a control, it is a process, it is a product, QA is a preventive, correct and detective, then quality audit is an example of QA and testing is an example of QC. So this is about the QA and QC, right? So do you have any questions, team? Quick, fast. Do you have any questions? Okay, no. Anybody have any question, team? No, no, no. Very good, fantastic. That's great. Okay, sounds good. Perfectly right. So let's move to the next level quickly. Okay, got it. If you have any queries, you can take me offline and you can ask me any questions, right, team? No problem. This is about the testing. What is the testing and objective of the testing? We have yesterday seen this, what is the testing is about and all. Okay, I'm not reading the slides. You are already seeing this, what is the testing is about. Right. Understand V&V model. This is a very important thing. So basic forms of testing activities. That is called as a verification and a validation. Now, okay. Now understand. So when we talk about the software testing thing, how could you define it? Software testing equals to verification, validation. This is a definition, technical. Okay, so software testing equals to Snehal. Snehal, can you mute? Hello. Hello. Okay. Right. Yes, team. So we are talking about this QA and QC is done. Then we are talking about verification and the validation, right? So understand what is verification and validation. So software testing definition, understanding. So software testing, when we talk about the software testing, that is the verification and the validation. Okay. 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 Right. So software testing is a verification and the validation. Perfectly. Now let's understand what is the verification and the validation. V&V model. इसी V&V model कहते हैं जो हमने waterfall model देखा, agile methodology देखा, right? code and fix model देखा, so the same is V&V model, and now it is called as a W model. अभी इसे कहते हैं W model, right? जब हमने पढ़ा था 2000 में 2005 तक, तो that time we were called this as a V model, V&V model, that is a verification and a validation model. Now it is called as a W model. It looks like a W, so that's why it is called as a W model. Let's see, understand this. Let me just complete it this fast quickly. Yes team, now see, right? देखिए एक डॉटेड लाइन दिखाई दे रहा है आपको, राइट? और एक सॉलिड लाइन आएगा अभी. This is the flow basically. Okay, let me just. So this is a requirement. Okay, this is the requirement. Then the functional specification. I will explain it. Design, code, system build, software release for use, and this is a solid, right? So now check review, specific review, then the design review, code review, integration testing, system testing. This is called as a static testing. This is called as a dynamic testing. Now this is called as a V&V model. So can you take a snapshot of this V&V model for your reference, right? See, now what is this V model? So this dotted line is one way and overlap with the solid V. So this dotted line is called as a SDLC, that is a software development lifecycle model. Okay, and then the solid line, which is called as a SDLC model. SDLC is nothing but it is a software testing lifecycle model. Okay, जो dotted line indicate, it indicates that this is a verification, right? And then this, so that is a static model, V&V model, right? So this dotted line is SDLC, solid line is SDLC. Okay, team. Now understand, the first is a requirement team. I'm explaining you. Understand what is this? See, this is the requirement, right? So once you get the requirement, you have to start the review of this, right? So this is a development activity, DEV, dev activity, and this is called as a QA or testing activity, right? तो ये review करेंगे, जो भी requirement आया है, we have to find out, we have to just go through the requirement. जैसे ही requirement go through होएगा, then we have to move to the next level, that is called as a functional specification. यानी कि requirement review होने के बाद उसका functional spec document ready हो जाता है. Okay, so once the functional specification gets ready, we have to take, the testers will take a fast review of the specific review and they will prepare a test plan. So we are going to understand what is a test plan is about, what is a test case is, how to write it down the test cases and all, right? ये test plan क्या रहेगा, ये भी हम discuss करेंगे. We are going to discuss this all as well. Okay, team. Now this is a that the functional specification का review करना है and we have to prepare a test plan. Test plan prepare होने के बाद we have to move to the next level, which is called as a design phase. Once the design gets done, then we have to take a review of those design phase, or we have to revise a test plan. उसका revise करना पड़ेगा. Then again, once this design is over, then we have to move to the next, that is a code, right? Coding होने के बाद code review होना चाहिए. Correct, code is working properly or not. और उसी का parallelly, if you check it out, this is also called as a unit testing. Correct, क्या कहते हैं उसे? Unit testing, right? Unit होने के बाद now there are two terms are there, team. Understand? One is a build system and build software. Okay, build system का मतलब क्या है कि when you combine all this in the units together, unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, तो ये build system हो जाता है. So you have to combine those in the units together and we have to perform called as the integration testing. Okay, we have to perform integration testing. So once the unit gets over, right, we have to integrate all those units. Yes, team, correct. We have to combine all these units together. So that is called as a build system. Right? Then next, build system is over. Now we have to move to the the build system, build software. What is this build system? When we talk about the system, we have to consider all hardware, software, correct, whatever the libraries, support libraries are there. So these are all things we have to consider, hardware as well as the software or the networking part, everything we have to consider. Then we have to build the software. Correct. Understand. Then we need to perform a system testing. The entire whole system gets ready, then we have to perform a system testing. Correct. Once the system testing gets over, matlab application is ready. Correct. Before deliver in the this product into the market or to the customer, we have to perform called as an acceptance test. Okay, we are going to see what is the unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. These are the different levels of testing. ये बाद में हम सीखने वाले हैं. We are going to learn this later on. Correct. So now, okay, this is what the acceptance testing is about. ये हो गया acceptance testing. जैसे ही acceptance testing हो जाएगा, तो ये release कर देंगे product ready for use. Remember, release for use, right? अभी यहाँ पे देखिए, यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है one term that is called as a static testing. Static testing is nothing but testing is performed, without execution or without computer. Testing is performed without computer. What it means basically, without computers, without execution, what it means? So जैसे कि review करना, review करने के लिए, suppose review करने के लिए, review मतलब क्या है? Go through करने के लिए सिर्फ खाली आप execute करोगे या expected actual result check करोगे? नहीं, सिर्फ खाली आप go through करते हो, and this is called as a static testing. Okay, remember team. Now what is a dynamic testing? Validation. Remember, validation. डायनेमिक टेस्टिंग यहाँ पे यूनिट टेस्टिंग है, इंटीग्रेशन टेस्टिंग है, उसको सिस्टम को हमें चेक करना पड़ेगा कि नहीं करना पड़ेगा. There is a code already, unit is there, I have to check addition is getting performed, so I have to give some inputs and check for the outputs. So this is what it is called as a dynamic testing, है ना? तो डायनेमिक मतलब वैलिडेशन, you have to validate on this system. ये स्टैटिक टेस्टिंग क्या करता है कि आपको सिर्फ खाली रिव्यू करना है, लेकिन आपको एग्जीक्यूशन कहाँ पे करना है? डायनेमिक टेस्टिंग में करना है. तो ये जो है यूनिट टेस्टिंग, देन द इंटीग्रेशन टेस्टिंग, system testings, and the user acceptance or UAT is getting performed in the dynamic testing. Clear? So this is about the V and V model team. Okay, this is about the V and V model. So hope that this is clear to everybody. Do you have any questions right now, team? Do you have any questions? In the chat box, you can just put any question. Hope that everybody is understood this V and V model, or it is also called as a W model. Correct. See, after releasing the product, so this is what, the general flow. Correct. See, there is a requirement. We have to perform a review part. Correct. Right. And then this is the standard process. अभी आपने कहा है कि after releasing, if we are getting any issues or the fault, then correct. आता है ना, रिलीज करने के बाद भी ये प्रॉब्लम आता है. करेक्ट. तो ये जो है ये प्रोसेस, यानी कि देयर आर समथिंग कॉल्ड एज अल्फा टेस्टिंग, बीटा टेस्टिंग, एंड दैट वी विल डिस्कस लेटर ऑन. ये सारी चीजें अभी तक कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ है. दिस इज इनकम्प्लीट. अभी हमने टेस्टिंग एक्टिविटीज शुरू ही नहीं किए. हम पहले कंसेप्ट्स को समझ रहे हैं कि क्या क्या टर्म्स आएंगे, व्हाट आर द टर्म्स वी आर गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट, है ना? जैसे रिक्वायरमेंट इज देयर, देन द फंक्शनल स्पेसिफिकेशन इज देयर, डिजाइन फेज इज देयर, कोड फेज इज देयर. तो ये जो है ये हम पहले धीरे धीरे सीखेंगे, फिर बाद में एंटायर टेस्टिंग लाइफ साइकिल आपको जब पता चलेगा, देन यू विल कम टू नो कि ये फॉल्ट क्या है, डिफेक्ट क्या है. टर्म्स भी हम यूज करते समय ना, है ना, व्हाट इज अ डिफेक्ट, व्हाट इज एन एरर, देन व्हाट इज अ फेलियर. सो दीज आर द इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चंस. ये इंटरव्यूज के क्वेश्चंस हैं. इंटरव्यूज में ये पूछते हैं, लेकिन अपने को अभी पता है कि ये सारे टर्म्स दैट इज अ नॉर्मल, लाइक डिफेक्ट मतलब एक ही है, एरर मतलब एक ही है, और फेलियर मतलब एक ही है. ऐसा नहीं है, वो ये अलग अलग है. फॉल्ट किसका होगा वगैरह, ये सारी चीजें ना जब हम डिफेक्ट लाइफ साइकिल इज ऑल्सो देयर, करेक्ट, टेस्टिंग लाइफ साइकिल है, तो जब हम ये सीखेंगे ना, दैट टाइम यू विल कम टू नो अबाउट दिस थिंग्स, करेक्ट। यस, इट्स नॉट एट डन। आप सिर्फ खाली वेरिफिकेशन और वैलिडेशन को समझोगे कि ये वेरिफिकेशन प्रोसेस होता क्या है, वैलिडेशन क्या होता है, करेक्ट। जो टेस्टिंग एक्टिविटी एंटायरली है ना, वो प्रोजेक्ट होने के बाद आपको पता चलेगा कि एग्जैक्टली यू नो द व्हाट इज दिस, यू नो द प्रोजेक्ट इज अबाउट एंड हाउ टू एग्जीक्यूट इट। तो जब हम ये प्रोजेक्ट वर्कआउट करना शुरू करेंगे, मतलब प्रैक्टिकली शुरू करेंगे, तब आपको ये पता चले, करेक्ट टीम। सो डोंट वरी अबाउट इट, एवरीथिंग वी विल गेट इट इन द प्रैक्टिकली, है ना। अभी मैं स्लाइड्स रीड करके या कुछ ऐसा नहीं दिखा रहा हूँ आपको, सिर्फ खाली बता रहा हूँ कि इंडस्ट्री में ये कैसे चलता है, क्या क्या टर्म्स है। यू पीपल शुड अंडरस्टैंड दोस टर्म्स, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट्स इट, नथिंग एल्स। और फाइनल जब आप प्रोजेक्ट करोगे तो आपको पता चलेगा कि एग्जैक्टली ओके, जो हमने ये सीखा था अभी ये हमने इम्प्लीमेंट कर दिया है, करेक्ट। गॉट इट दिस पॉइंट टीम, राइट, है ना। ओके, तो मैं सभी को रिक्वेस्ट ये करूंगा कि यू पीपल हैव टू give your email IDs, those who are really interested and serious about this in the software testing certification course, correct। तो ये सर को आप अपनी ईमेल आईडी दे देना जेन्युइनली, क्योंकि अभी 72 मुझे दिखाई दे रहे हैं। जो भी जेन्युइनली है, यू हैव टू कॉन्टैक्ट विद योर कलीग्स और द फ्रेंड्स एंड आस्क देम whether you really want to do it, because I don't want to send to everybody link. ये इन्व्हिटेशन लिंक मुझे सबको सेंड नहीं करना, जेवढे इंटरेस्टेड आहेत त्या लोकांनी तुमचे ईमेल आय डी जेन्युइनली सरांकडे द्या, त्यांनाच मी फक्त हे इन्व्हिटेशन पाठवतो, ठीक है। ओके, समझलं सगळ्यांना। सो प्लीज ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड गिव यूर ईमेल आईडीज जेन्युइनली कि बाबा सर हमें ये कोर्स करना है कंप्लीटली, करेक्ट, प्लीज। सो जेन्युइनली आप अपना ईमेल आईडी, जो आपके फ्रेंड्स भी जेन्युइनली अभी कट हुए हैं, बीच में से गए हैं, तो उनको करना है तो उनकी ईमेल आईडीज मुझे सर के साथ दे दो कि सर यस, कि वी आर इंटरेस्टेड, रियली वी वांट टू डू दिस कोर्स, परफेक्टली राईट। आणि मी तुम्हाला भरपूर इनपुट्स देईन, लक्षात घ्या। व्हॉट इज आरपीए, रोबोटिक प्रोसेस ऑटोमेशन म्हणजे काय, हे सगळं मी सांगणार आहे तुम्हाला, लक्षात घ्या, ठीक आहे। त्यामुळे हे कंप्लीट व्यवस्थित आणि प्रॅक्टिकली आपण करणार आहोत, ह्याच्या नोट्स वगैरे सगळ्या तुम्हाला देणार मी, सो डोंट वरी अबाउट इट। तुम्हाला काहीही रेफरन्स लागले, रेफरन्सेस माझ्याकडे भरपूर आहेत, मी रेफरन्सेस तुम्हाला देईन, सो डोंट वरी अबाउट दिस थिंग्स, क्लिअर। आणि उद्या वाटल्यास आपण 10 वाजता बसूया, 10 ते 12 आपण क्लास घेऊया। एव्हरीबडी इज ओके, 10 to 12 comfortable? Okay, Yuvraj says okay. Right, Sheetal, Mansi, okay. Everybody is okay with the 10 to 12. No problem. Perfectly right. बरोबर. चालेल. सो उद्या 10 ते 12 आपण घेऊया हे सेशन. हा, आणि व्हेरिफिकेशन आणि व्हॅलिडेशन हे थेरॉटिकली जरासं इन डेप्थ मध्ये आपण पाहणार आहोत. उद्या पाहूया ते. ठीक आहे. सो हॅव अ नाईस डे अँड थँक्यू सो मच, आणि टेक इट सिरियसली. तुम्हाला ह्याचं फ्रुटफुल रिझल्ट हा मिळणारच मिळणार, डेफिनेटली 101%. येस, डेफिनेटली. ठीक आहे. ओके, बाय अँड टेक केअर टीम. ओके, बाय, हॅव अ नाईस डे अभिषेक. बाय. थँक यू सो मच टू ऑल ऑफ यू. थँक यू. तुमचे फक्त ईमेल आय डी सगळ्यांना द्या, सरांना द्या. ओके, बाय बाय, टेक केअर. येस सर, थँक यू. Thank you. Yes, I have given the email ID, right? You are getting a link, so you can send your queries, offline. Okay, thank you. Thank you to all of you. Bye. Take care.